So the Zone Guards of Impel Down were our first introduction to Devil Fruit Awakening, and they're the only awakened zones we've seen in One Piece so far. I really hope that changes this arc, especially with Kaido and all the Beast Pirates and all, but it is what it is. There's a great deal of speculation about Devil Fruits and how they awaken, but the Jailer Beasts seem to stand out to me, because they just don't seem normal, and I think there's something up with them. I'm going to be starting with the basics of Zone Fruits and the background of the Jailer Beasts, so timestamps are down below if you just want to skip straight to the theory. So, zones are one of the three types of devil fruits, and they allow you to transform into an animal or creature or even mythical creature. When transformed, these fruits give a person far greater strength, speed, and durability. That makes them really effective at close range combats, especially the normal types of zones. There are also different subclasses in the zone category, like ancient zones and mythical zones. These give people special abilities and allow them to transform to really cool things like dinosaurs, Buddhas, dragons, all that. But I think these deserve their own video, so I'll probably be going over them more in depth in the future. So the Jailer Beasts were first introduced in chapter 530 of the manga, and since that time, they've got one additional member who's a Chihuahua. They're all giant animals that look kinda silly, but don't let that fool you. They're kind of ruthless creatures who often brutalize the prisoners of Impel Down. These guards are apparently awakened zone users, and this transformation should give them more strength, speed, and durability. Even with the enhanced attributes though, Luffy was easily able to deal with the cow guard before the time skip. He basically one-shot it, knocked it out, and then he ran away. This part really doesn't sit right with me, and I feel like they're so underwhelming that there has to be something off about them. Zones are my favorite type of fruit, so in my mind, there's no way that Oda would make Zone Awakenings that weak and simple. And that leads straight into my theory, so I guess we'll start. So the basic premise of my theory is that we haven't seen a legitimate Zone Awakening, and the Jailer Beasts are actually VEGAPUNK experiments. This might sound a bit weird, but a few things would make a lot more sense and I think would fit perfectly into the story. When people eat zones, they start to take on the traits of the animal. This was seen in chapter 349 when Chopper said that carnivorous zones are more violent. We also saw this in a different way through Spondam and his sword. If you don't really remember who that is, he was the really weak leader of CP9, and he had the cool sword that can become an elephant. It was called Funkfried. The Devil Fruit completely overtook the sword, making an animal that has its own emotions and feelings. It literally became a real animal. And even things like illnesses and diseases affect it. It's kind of insane, actually. This happened to the sword because it has a Devil Fruit now that was infused into it by Vegapunk. It is stated that a certain character will explain how Devil Fruits awaken, and I think we can all agree that it has to be Vegapunk. There's no doubt in my mind that Vegapunk has done thousands of experiments with Devil Fruits, and it's very possible that he hasn't just experimented with weapons, but with humans as well. Possibly former Impel Down prisoners. I don't want to portray Vegapunk as evil just because he has done experiments with humans. I actually think he's probably a good person. He most likely performed these experiments in the name of science, and I'm guessing that he performed them on the impelled down prisoners because they were going to rot in jail for the rest of their lives, or they're going to get executed or something tragic like that. And there are two different ways I can actually see this circumstance playing out. And the first way that this whole thing can kind of play out is that they were giving normal Zoan devil fruits and then they were experimented on. The Jailer Beasts have completely lost control, and it's almost as the devil fruit has kind of taken over, but in a wrong way. They only act at instinct, show no signs of complex thought, and it seems like they're stuck in their form. I assume they're stuck because when I think of a fruit getting awakened, I always look to the flamingo or katakuri, and I think it would give a user greater control over the devil fruit. And I just think we didn't see that from the Jailer Beasts. They all had the same exact form, and they didn't try to utilize any partial transformations, slight changes, or anything at all, actually. They were just kind of running around, and they didn't even talk. It was just kind of weird. The only thing that I can compare them to is Chopper's monster point from before the time skip, back when he would completely lose control. Chopper would enter this form by using the Rumble Ball, and my interpretation of the Rumble Ball is that it allows Chopper to unlock forms that his Devil Fruit has without actually training to unlock them, or powers, maybe, however you want to look at it. It's kind of the same thing to me. So it's kind of a temporary cheat code that happens when you mess with the wavelengths of a Devil Fruit. Messing with these wavelengths is dangerous and can potentially have long-lasting effects on the user, so Vegapunk might have made his own version of the Rumble Ball that's far stronger, or maybe he's altering the Devil Fruit in some other way, and the results of experiments ended up being the Jailer Beast we see. And the other way, in my opinion, just as likely way this can play out, is that the Jailer Beasts were given Vegapunk's version of a smile or artificial fruits. We know that Vegapunk can make artificial devil fruits because he's the one that made Momo's dragon fruit, which is modeled after Kaido's fruit. Also assume that Caesar stole his research and made his own faulty version of a devil fruit that's kind of sucks, to be honest. So why would we assume that Vegapunk didn't make more artificial fruits or do more testing? Artificial fruits so advanced that they could even maybe be awakened. Vegapunk stated that Momo's fruit is a failure, so if that statement is true, keep in mind there's a good chance that it's not. It might be partially a failure, like it's not fully as strong as Kaido's fruit, but it's not a complete failure. It still works, still has the powers, but it's just not to that level. I'm wondering what a successful artificial fruit would look like. Vegapunk's artificial fruits might be so advanced at this point that they even have awakening. It also helps that every single artificial devil fruit we've seen in the series is a Zoan, and that's what the Impel Down Guards happen to be actually. And now that I think about it, all the weapons that have devil fruits also have Zoan devil fruits. If I had to guess why that is, it's probably just because capturing the essence and genetic breakdown of animals and trying to replicate it is probably a lot easier than trying to do it for something like lava or rubber or any sort of element or anything like that. But overall, the guards of Impel Down are very interesting, and I think them not actually being awakened would be an overall good twist in the story. It would give the Zoan class a much needed power boost. I also have an idea about how Devil Fruits awaken that'll slightly connect back to this video. And no, it doesn't have anything to do with Vegapunk, but anyways, that'll be it. Thank you for listening, and be sure to let me know what you think.